If you suffer from back pain or know anyone that does, then this video is a must watch. I'm going to be covering the fundamentals of the spine and giving you 3 key rules to keep in mind whenever you're exercising to keep your spine safe and most importantly to preserve your spine for the future. Be sure to watch till the end. Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I want to focus on a topic that is very near and dear to my heart, and this is the topic of spine safety. Let's start with some fundamentals and basics. So let's look at the spine. We have the cervical spine, thoracic, the lumbar going down into the sacrum and the tailbone. And what you will notice is that there are some naturally occurring curves in the spine, right? And the cervical going in, the thoracic coming out, the lumbar coming in a little bit and coming back out slightly with your sacrum and then your tailbone tucking in. The spine was designed specifically with those curves so that it can bear load appropriately. But our day-to-day habits, bad postures, bad exercising habits have compromised those curves. And when those curves are compromised, it can manifest as back pain, muscular tension, pain down different nerves like your sciatic nerve and so on. So if you are somebody that suffers from any kind of back pain or discomfort, this video is for you. So when I first started learning yoga and Pilates, we were taught to move and mobilize the spine in all sorts of directions because flexibility and mobility in the spine is good for you. But maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago or so, I came across a phenomenal teacher by the name of Rebecca Leone, who took the teachings of Dr. Stuart McGill. Dr. Stuart McGill is one of the primary researchers, scientists, and experts on backs in general, back issues. And top athletes go to him to rehabilitate their backs when no one else can do anything. So in his teachings, the fundamental principle is you need to think about stabilizing the spine, right? And then you're like, okay, well, but why are all these other disciplines teaching us to move it in all sorts of directions? But if you think about nothing else, think about this. What is one of the fundamental purposes of your spine? It is to protect your spinal cord. So knowing that fact alone, would you want to compromise the integrity of that spine in any way and twist and load it in all sorts of different positions? I mean, I know I wouldn't. So what do you need to do instead? I want you to think about the dynamics, and I want you to just look at this video here while we talk about what happens when you flex the spine. Okay, so when you flex the spine, what ends up happening is that the front of the discs, right? So in between your vertebrae, you have these gel-like nucleuses and discs that absorb shock and kind of, help distribute any load through the system appropriately. And when you are forward bending, you pinch the front end of the discs and that starts to bulge on the back end, as you can see in this video. Now, one time doing that, nothing happens. 2 times doing that, nothing happens. It's thinking about, you take a metal rod and you start just bending it up and down, up and down, up and down. Okay? It starts to compromise the integrity of that structure. And so those collagen fibers that make up those discs start to get compromised over time. And then it's just a matter of when and what is going to be the last straw that is going to cause a more significant issue like a disc bulge or a herniation or something like that. Right? Kind of like the icing on the cake or the straw that broke the camel's back, right? We don't know for each individual when that's going to happen. No one can predict it, but the point is it's continuously doing that, and at some point it will happen. Okay, so that's flexion, but then think about extreme extension, okay, which is not uncommon in yoga, not uncommon in Pilates, and what happens on the reverse side. So in the back end, we have the spinous processes, and these bones are also clicking and clunking into each other and rubbing, and that is also compromising that structure, and we're pinching on the other end of the disc, right? So any of those extreme movements is messing with that integrity of the spine and your curves. So as a rule of thumb, in my classes, we always try to respect as much as possible a neutral spine. I will post more videos specifically on how to find your neutral spine and what that is. But also, any position that is significantly compromising your curves, you need to think about and reconsider, especially if you're somebody who has pain and has back issues. Next two rules is, if your spine is under load, you need to minimize the movement in your spine, okay? Second rule, if your spine is unloaded, then you have more opportunities to create more mobility in the spine. And again, like I said, and I promise there will be more videos talking specifically about that, but any of my classes that are on here already will follow these to the T. All right? Hope you found this helpful. I hope you will think about your spine a little bit differently. I look forward to catching you here again. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.